Alrighty then, here we go for one last time. It all comes down to this. Welcome to the final round of ORL Tier 2 here, and we are here around Silverstone for the decider, and I am joined by J-Man in the comms box.
Yeah, g'day Lindsay. Good afternoon to you and to everyone watching along this afternoon. It's a massive day today, the final round of what's been, I'd say, probably ORL's best season to date in terms of numbers, in terms of the quality of racing as well. I think it's been fantastic. And what better way to do it at Silverstone, one of the best tracks in the game, and with all 20 drivers on the grid, we've got a lot to play for still. The individual drivers' champions have been decided. Zonix has taken out the tier that we are watching at the moment in Tier 2, and Geordie Slater has Tier 1 wrapped up. But the Constructors' Championship is going to be is going to take the attention of everyone today, not just for the championship, for the midfield places as well. But the most intriguing battle, obviously, will be Mercedes versus Aston Martin, which is what we're going to be fixated on this afternoon.
Yep, and obviously it's our two teams going head to head, and it seems like even when it isn't a drivers' championship, we'll always be locked head to head in a championship battle. It's felt like that all season, and I think this is really going to come down to the wire here, and it's going to be who can pull out the best result tonight. And I think Zonix has definitely stepped up his game these final few rounds after he didn't win a few times, and he's definitely tried very hard to get himself prepared but solve all of these drivers for this round, as we all know how important this is, and it is going to come down to probably the final lap of the race.
Yeah, Tier 2 always providing that quality action. Zonix has taken 7 of the 13 races this season, but it hasn't been particularly easy for him, especially as the season's gone on. The competition's gotten stronger and stronger. But just to give all the viewers out there a bit of indication of what is to be played for this afternoon, we've got the Tier 2 Constructors title, which is going to be the main focus of this race, and then the Tier 1 race tonight will be mainly about the overall. And at the moment, it's Aston Martin leading Mercedes by 7 points in the championship. Zonix and PS Bomber, the Aston Martin lineup, will be trying to maintain that lead. And the two Mercedes drivers, the two full-time drivers are out today. They're going to have to do with 2 reserves, but they have 2 very competent ones. Jaden Squires in particular, he's got fantastic pace. And Toto, a new driver into the league, will be trying to help that Mercedes team over the line. And then we'll move on to later tonight, the overall constructors, which Mercedes actually lead that one by 18 points. So it's going to be really, really interesting. This qualifying session could prove critical as well. That pole position generally can get converted into a win here at Silverstone, but there is still plenty of chances to overtake as well.
Yeah, and I think, as you said at the start of the session, there is no better place to do it than around Silverstone. And I think that's not just because the track itself is so good. I think it's the racing it brings. It is so phenomenal, so many overtaking spots, the right length DRS zones, and it really comes down to how you play out your race. And your qualifying does matter around here, but with the amount of track position you can gain in the race with how wide this circuit is, it is definitely not too much of a hurt.
Yeah, and already an early DSQ for Kia, starting at the back of the grid. He's not too unfamiliar with the last row of the grid. He has had 2 qualifying bans this season, but it seems that the 2 races he has had the qualifying bans have been 2 of his best races. So go figure about that, as Jaden sets an absolutely cracking lap time compared to everything else we've seen so far. And just for the drivers and the fans that might not be of Aston Martin and Mercedes, there is still a pretty titanic midfield battle going on in the Tier 2 Constructors. We got Alfa Romeo in 3rd on 134 points, and then just 4 points behind them Ferrari, and another 2 points behind is Red Bull and Alpine, not too far back either. So there's 4 teams in the hunt for that P3 in the Constructors as well, which obviously not as grand as that coveted championship title, but it's still something these drivers will want to achieve, especially we've seen teams like Alpine with that lineup of Mickey and Apex Stig, who have absolutely flown through this back end of the season after probably one of the poorer starts out of all the teams in Tier 2. They've really shone through in this latter stage of the season.
Yep, and I think a lot of that has to do with the amount of effort they know they put in this second half. They really focused on their driving. Mickey has made a proper return to F1. He was still racing, but he wasn't, he wasn't driving too much outside of the actual league races themselves, where he's really stepped up his game towards this back end. But Stig has also had an amazing return to form in the second half. He was already there or thereabouts when he got signed by Geordie, but he's just really picked it up in this second half, and it showed with the way Alpine have come back through.
Yeah, absolutely. As Zonix is now on the track, the world champion of Tier 2, seeing as H. Muban, another DSQ from this qualifying session. So,
Zonix invalidated.
Dropping like flies as Zonix, yes, he has invalidated. And also, the man who is reserving for Mercedes at the moment, Jaden, if he picks up a win today, he will finish P2 in the Drivers' Championship as a reserve, which would be an incredible feat. And I think something he would have looked at those championship tables and really sensed an opportunity there as well. So that's exciting times for him, as we see Mercedes do have that front row lockout at the moment. There is still quite a few drivers that are yet to set their first laps, but there is quite a disparity, larger than what you'd expect early on, between first and second and pretty much everyone else at this stage.
Yeah, well, Zonix would have just happily set himself into P2 just then. He did a 25.8 without the invalidation, so he would have slotted himself comfortably in a Mercedes sandwich. So that's definitely going to be interesting as we get later into the session. How much more can Jaden, Zonix, and Toto pick up the pace? I know Toto's more of a race guy. He doesn't particularly have the best quali, but I think as long as all of the top guys can get into the 25s area, they should be setting themselves up alright on the grid, probably inside of the top 6, which will be good to see. So we have Mickey there or thereabouts down in P5, and PS Bomber on the wheel for the first time in P4, so he's showing some strong pace as well. But just to quickly get away from that, we have Broadstar breaking the rules. He's gone out on the track on inters.
Yeah, not sure if he's going to do a lap or if he's going to pull into the pits. It looks like he's staying out there, so I guess that's something that we dealt with later on, but no particular major concerns there. Apex Stig is starting his first lap in the Alpine as well. And the Alpines, as we mentioned before, have a lot to play for. The Overall Constructors Championship is going to be their main focus today. They've already wrapped up both Tier 1 titles by a long, long distance, largely thanks to Geordie's efforts. And we'll see if Apex Stig, who's come a long way in development this season, can find his way into a decent time, making his way down towards the Vale chicane now. And he runs a little bit wide, gets right up on the line there, and crosses the line for a very solid lap time of 1:25.8, which is what Zonix would have set if he didn't invalidate, but it puts him in P2 for the moment as we hit the halfway mark in this session.
Yep, and I think that obviously Stig did a 25.3 just yesterday, I believe it was, and he's put it here, there, and everywhere, so we know what he's capable of. But the question is now, under the pressure of this decider, will he be able to actually put it into practice? Yeah,
it's a big question. He's been up and down as when it comes to the races. Apex Stig, there's been some moments he's had where he's been absolutely unbelievable driving through the field, and then has other moments where he's been caught up in a couple incidents at times. So it's going to take time. Obviously, he's still relatively early into his racing journey, so he's got plenty of time to make up for it. And F1 Banks, who's a McLaren full-time driver, driving in a Haas, so try and understand that one. But
Hudman's just gone off the track down the straight and smashed a Pirelli board.
Yeah, Yeah, Hudman not ideal, and he has been struggling in qualifying. His struggles have been well noted so far this season, and he's down in P10 at the moment.
Yep, our former Tier 2 champion, looking with quite poor form this season. He's had his moments of brilliance, but let's hope that he can get it together here for this final round. And we'll see some Ferraris up the grid. And then just also a note outside of the championship itself, a record can be set today if Zonix wins today's race.
Yep, exactly right. He can take most wins in a single season, which is currently held in a three-way tie. If Geordie Slater continued to race out the season, it might have, as F1 Banks has had a moment there with Miniman. If Geordie decided to keep racing, he would have had that record well wrapped up. But if you remember Viperbond back in Season 3, his dominant start, I believe he took, 5 races on the bounce to open the season and really just locked up that championship from the start. Sort of similar to what Zonix has been, but I think Viperbond, you could probably say, was even more dominant than what Zonix has been this season. And yeah, that was it's great to look back on the history of ORL and the drivers that were in it. Vipermon it was a different beast back in the previous game it was, and yeah, it was unbelievable. And now Zonix has a chance to knock that record off in a shorter season as well, which would be extremely impressive.
Yeah, and I think had this season gone on just a few more to our normal distance that we had for this game, we could have seen an even bigger record be set. And I think that obviously, I think this shorter season has been better as it's created more tension in this championship, because I think at the way we're going right now, the championship would have been close, but I don't think it would have been quite this close.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think towards the back end of the season, I might just have to consult the leaderboard. But I reckon Zonix's gap has actually been reduced since the early stages of the season.
Yep.
Besides,
Toto goes back up into P2.
Yeah, nicely done from him, and he's only just over Apex dig there. 5 minutes to go in the session. It's Alpine 3 and 4 as well, so they are not messing around either today. PS Bomber up in 6, and that representing that Aston Martin team. Zonix still yet to set that competitive lap time. And Taipan TJ, also usually quite a quick driver, down in 18th, but as is the case with quite a few of these Tier 2 drivers, there's a lot of race pace around, but some of these drivers just can't seem to hook that lap up in qualifying.
Yep, and I think we've seen that a good few times with the likes of Hudman, Broadstar, Taipan, even PS Bomber at times during this season. It's just something that these drivers need to improve on, but that's obviously why it is Tier 2. Their drivers are always going to have their shortcomings, and some drivers like Kia Play are absolutely phenomenal at qualifying the car, but don't have as much race pace normally. Whereas we have drivers like, obviously it's not showing right now as he's in P1, but Jaden has had brilliant race pace over the course of the season, much as Zonix as well. But they are drivers who are kind of balanced. They're normally stronger in the race, but they normally can hook up their qualifying laps alright as well.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see who can get it right in these last few minutes of the session. It's also a great time to make a statement towards the end of the season with the final race of F1 23 moving into the next game as well, just to give Tier 2 a good send-off, and we'll move into another new era for ORL. Hopefully the game exceeds expectations. We've heard some relatively negative reports about it so far, but hopefully there will be improvements, and we'll get some good quality racing into the next game as well. But yeah, I think F1 2023, obviously the game's had its issues, but I think relative to the previous game, I think it had its good moments as well.
Yep, and I think that obviously the league was born last game on F1 22, and it's done has gone up from there. Obviously, the Tier 1 fights haven't been particularly as close as Season 1 was and stuff like that, but the league as a whole, especially Tier 2, I mean, Tier 2 never wavered, but over the course of this game, it's just gotten even closer. We've had some amazing races with some amazing championship battles, and I think that this game has definitely brought at least the Tier 2 side of ORL to a new height, and Tier 1 is slowly getting there as well.
Yeah, the only thing we're missing from Tier 2 is a driver versus driver thrilling championship battle, I think. Because we've always had that one driver who's sort of stuck out in front of the rest. But I think we're not too far away from seeing that as the field just gets closer and closer. Obviously, it'll get sort of stretched out a bit when the new game comes out. But we'll focus back on the qualifying for now because we do have the drivers coming out for their final laps. And both Mercedes out on the track, Apex Stig, and also both Aston Martins. So those will be the drivers we will be paying most of our attention to, but maybe there could be someone who brings up a surprise. Hudman just set a lap, he's up to 9th, which I think is probably going to be all he can do for this session.
Yeah, Broadstar's also a bit out of character as well with his current lap time as well, so we might see him pop up here at the end of the session. So I think it's all to play for, but we do have PS Bomber already on a lap going through Sector 1, so maybe you want to take that lap away as he's one of our main championship concerns here.
Yeah, PS Bomber, he's had his struggles throughout this season. He's had some great performances as well as Hudman has retired from the session there, and he's got a little bit of a slipstream as PS Bomber. He's missed out on the last 2 race weekends, and he's gonna come back with hopefully a reinvigorated spirit here. And he's set a pretty solid first sector. I think that was Broadstar has just gone up into P7. Also Ragon up to P4. Nice lap from him so far as PS Bomber makes his way down to Cop's Corner. Takes it flat out all the way. Got plenty of downforce running through that car now. And F1 Banks out of the session as well. And this has looked relatively tidy from PS Bomber so far. And now the DRS is open, but he's slightly down on his lap time, so he's going to need to find something through this final sector, maybe take a little bit of an extra risk here, and he pushes hard now through to the final chicane, and turns in sharply, takes a little bit of that sausage curb, hopefully didn't cost him too much time. Now rounding the final corner, will it be an improvement? Yes, it will, up to P7. Which is a great recovery from the final sector. And now we move on to some of the other drivers who are on their laps as well.
Yeah, Zonix is heading through into Sector 3 now. He's 21 seconds up, but obviously he's only done 2 minute 2 lap time currently because he invalidated his first one. So what is he going to be able to hook up here? He hasn't been able to get the rest of the laps going, but as he heads through Sector 3, he gets the right-hander pretty well, and now into the Vale chicane, he's going to have to pull out a big one here. Can he beat Jaden to pole or put himself into that top 3 area? I'm sure he can. He's on for a good lap. He's on a 25.5. He goes P2, and it is an absolutely phenomenal lap as we now see the other Mercedes of Toto up slightly on his time. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough to match Zonix currently, but he's a 10th up, so maybe he'll give himself some safety to some of the cars going behind him as he heads through now. Dab the brakes, down the 6th gear, back on the power now, into Vale. Will he be able to improve on his time at all if he can get this neat and tidy? I'm sure he can. Where will the Mercedes driver put himself in this grid order? Will he move up past Zonix, or will this be all he can do? 25.6 just behind Zonix, and now Jaden is heading through the final couple of corners now as he's heading into the chicane. Will he be able to extend his advantage on pole? Will he be able to get into the 0.4s? Maybe even further. He's crossing the line now. It's going to be a 1 minute 23.415 for our final Tier 2 pole position of the season.
Lovely lap from Jaden there, hooked it up beautifully. Also, Royal Duck has jumped up into 5th place. What a qualifying for the Alpha Tauris, 5th and 7th. They're currently 9th in the Constructors' Championship, so that's a great outcome for them too. Mickey splits them in 6th, and Apex Stig retired on his lap, so wasn't able to improve on his time. But it's Mercedes 1 and 3, Zonix splits the 2 of them, and this is shaping up to be an incredible race start here. It's the Alpines just behind the Aston Martin and the 2 Mercedes. and we are all set to go for the final race of the season. What expectation is coming on these drivers in the next half an hour or so?
I think that we're going to see those top three try and bolt away with it, with Apex Stig staying in the mix as well. And I think Mercedes punching hard now in qualifying, but they've got to keep that together in the races. Jaden's had a few lackluster rounds, back-to-back reserving for Aston, and when he reserved for Mercedes in Abu Dhabi, which has kind of shaped the way this has ended. So if he can finish this out strong, Mercedes will be in for a good shot. But Aston currently with their 7-point lead, Mercedes is going to need to have an absolute cracker of a round to outscore Aston by more than 8 points.
Yep, and we're just about to get underway now. The Silverstone race start is always one that excites, especially throughout the entire first lap. There's plenty of chances to get past. Remember that famous battle back in 2021 between Hamilton and Verstappen. Hopefully we see something of the like between Zonix and Jaden. That would be an absolute spectacle for everyone involved. And a little bit further back, the second Aston Martin, a PS Bomber. It's the 6 cars we're focusing on, the 2 Mercedes, 2 Astons and 2 Alpines will be fighting hard for positions on this first lap.
Yep, and I think as we get ready to get underway, I think we'll see some people start on the mediums, some people start on the hards, maybe even the oddball out starting on the softs, but the leaders are who we're looking to as we come to 5 red lights for the final time in Tier 2 this season to decide the championship. Who's going to get underway well as we go lights out now? No, not yet. It's still holding us. And, oh my days.
Well, what an anticlimax that was.
Yeah. Honestly, we've done rolling starts before.
There's been a bit of weirdness with the safety cars.
Oh no.
We might have to restart, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Why, EA?
I reckon we might just have to turn it off, the safety cars.
I don't know. I think we give it... I think we have it on. We give it one more chance, and if we have to restart again, we turn it off, because I think it should be alright. Is it something to do... I think it's the commentator being the host is the problem. Because it's...
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been happening a lot recently, and it's mainly when the commentators host.
Oh, well, I've always been the host, and it's...
Yeah, I know, but it's gotten worse. I've seen in the last few times.
Now, if the safety car glitches again, we might just have to turn off safety cars.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Come on, Kia and Mickey. Alright, so we're just going to try it again, are we?
Yeah, hold on. I'm just gonna see maybe if we can get one of the drivers to try host who has good internet. Maybe Zonix.
Zonix hosted the race last week and we had that glitch happen.
Can always see.
I've told everyone to stay in the lobby as well.
No, Zonix said no.
It's fine, we'll just try it again. I'll host it.
Get me back in then. I left instantly just thinking that we were gonna completely restart it. Yeah, Hudson also had to restart. Ah, frick, it's
We've got 18 in here still.
Yeah. I just need to get back in. It's invite only, so I can't just join off photo.
Just waiting on Webbo. No, why is Webbo and Ferrari? Who's the other Ferrari driver? Hudman. And Mickey.
Interesting clip in Tier 2 chat. Alright, who are we missing? Just Hudman?
Mickey.
Ah, Mickey. Alright.
Can you tell Chill Rods and Banks to switch cars?
Yeah. You're just gonna have to set up the grid now.
I'm doing it now.
Oh yeah, and set the weather to clear. So we don't have any rain.
I'll do. Done.
Alrighty. Alrighty, let's get going again. I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna remind them of setups. Everybody's gonna want to kill me, and normally I'm the person who says, why did you remind them? But I'm gonna remind them.
So if we get a safety car on the start, are we going to restart?
It depends on if people get penalties.
Okay.
If there's just a safety car at the start, we can do a rolling. We've done it before in the past, like we did it at Mexico a few seasons ago. Stuff like that. It's not a big deal. It's just boring. But if it actually affects the race, like people start getting penalties and stuff, then
Let's chuck that in a message.
yeah. We don't want people starting in a straight line because there's a safety car off the line.
Alright, let's get back into it.
Yeah, so once again, got the grid going, and we're gonna get underway for the lights. The clock strikes 3, so it's gonna be They're pretty much dead on the hour start, and then we'll see how we get along from there. We're going to have a Mercedes followed by an Aston, then another Mercedes. So a bit of a sandwich going on. And then we have Stig just behind him, who could try to get involved as we barrel down into turn 1, but it all depends on what tyres and how people get off the line. And as we get to the lights once again here for ORL, tier number 2. It's going to be lights out, hopefully. The lights are out, but it's being slow. And it's the same again. Oh, okay, gotta drive through. Oh, they just decided not to listen to your message. Alrighty, safety car off.
Let's turn safety cars off. Do you want to do a lobby race start?
Nah, if we have safety car off, it'll be fine. Because the safety car is the only thing causing a problem. People want a lobby restart. Get Zonix the host.
Everyone's in the lobby. We're just going to turn safety cars off. Check the grid's correct. It is. We're good.
Everybody's actually got desync. It's just because people want a new lobby. Well, it's going to be the only time in ORL history we don't have a safety car. It will actually be the first time ORL doesn't have a safety car in its entirety of its existence.
Maybe people won't crash into each other now.
Yeah, because there's no safety cars to bail them out now, so have fun. Alrighty. Try get underway. Again. Third time's the charm. There won't be any safety cars this time, so definitely puts a bit more pressure on the drivers. Do you think maybe we'll see some of those leaders take it more cautiously now?
I think we definitely will, but we have had someone just leave the session, which is definitely going to cook this start as well.
I hate this game so much. We'll see. Alright, we can get him back in. Inevitably, it's going to be lap 1, so they won't lose too much time.
Hopefully no one's forgot their setup as well.
Hopefully none of the championship contenders especially, as that would definitely shake it up.
Alright.
Alrighty, as we come to the lights once again here in ORL Tier 2, trying to get underway for about the billionth time. We are now underway here in ORL, so Jaden getting a good start, followed by Zonix, then Toto. There's a bit of carnage up the back there,
goodness. And
some drivers dropping down the field, but it's still Mercedes, Aston, Mercedes, couple of drivers, one driver disconnecting from the session as Apex Stig trying to get involved, thinking about going up the inside of Toto, as now Ragon making up places on the start. They're 3 wide up the back of McLaren's lost it into one of the Haas's. Chillrods has lost it into Spicy, and that will see them tumbling down the grid. Hudman also finds himself without a front wing. Royal Duck is moving up past Apex Stick into P4, at least he's trying to do it the long way around here as we head through Brooklands. And right around the outside, he's going to try and go. Will Apex Stig be able to hold on for the P4 place, or will he have to try fight it back later? They might try go side by side into Cops. Apex Stig decides better of it and backs up. And meanwhile here, we do have the Alpine of Mickey trying to go wheel to wheel with one of the cars through Cops, and now Type and TJ trying on the outside of F1 Banks into Maggots and Beckett. There's some contact. The Haas goes off, cuts the track, keeps the position, and Taipan is now going to try get underneath on the exit. As we see Mickey going off the track, that's an Aston Martin Pierce Bomber off into the wall, but stays in the section, crucially for him.
Ragon's out of the race, and on that first lap, debris flying absolutely all over the track. As Toto's taken second place off Zonix. About 4 drivers are without a wing now. We'll see everyone start to flood into the pits. Jaden's got a 1.4 second lead, and Mickey 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. But it is absolutely going on at the moment here on lap 1. F1 Banks is pressurising Taipan. TJ can't quite find a way through into turn 1. But yeah, a lot going on here early on. As Hudman's now retired from the session, Kia's made up 11 spots in the first lap of this race, which is unbelievable. Miniman out of this race as well, and 4 drivers into the pits. So it's already been absolute chaos off the start here. Jaden has a solid lead here, and Zonix needs to find a way through on Toto. He's got a great run here on those hard tyres compared to Toto's medium tyres. He might not have enough here into Cop's corner. He's going to have a little bit of a look, but just going to stay behind for the moment. And now Kia has made 11 places up to 12 into 8th place. What a start for him.
Yep, and he is just slicing his way through the grid. We've seen him do it before, but not to this capacity, as there's a yellow flag. Taipan TJ, I think, has had an incident. Yeah, he has, and I think he's lost his wing, which will... Oh no, he's gotten away, but he's definitely in a world of hurt. But he's down in P9. But look at the gap to that front 3 versus down to P9. It is absolutely massive already.
Yeah, it's starting to build quite significantly here. Royal Duck's done well to hang on to that 4th place. Apex Stig just kind of stuck behind him at the moment. And Webbo's had a great start. A lot of drivers have had good starts here. Webbo up to 7th now. And now F1 Banks into the pits also.
Yeah, something
Yep.
Sorry, I just cut you off really badly, but something of note here I've just noticed, which is why I blurted it out before I forgot again. The leaders, the top 3, are all on different strategy.
Yeah, Jaden on those soft tyres as well is absolutely crucial here to him getting away, and that's probably what his plan is as Toto continues to hold up Zonix. DRS is enabled on this lap. Zonix saving up that battery. He's really closing in on Toto, but just can't quite find that way through just yet. And Royal Duck and Apex Stig battling behind. Apex Stig gaining quite consistently here. And coming up to this DRS zone, we should be able to see a couple overtaking opportunities. Running wide is Royal Duck. Apex Stig has a great opportunity here. They both have DRS. A little bit further up, Zonix is gaining on Toto, but it's not going to be enough as Apex Stig looks to make that move to 4th place, but Royal Duck's fighting it back. They're wheel-to-wheel here towards the Vale chicane, and Royal Duck has the inside line. Around the outside goes Apex Stig, and that was nicely done by him there, and now he's going to try and chase down Zonix, and Toto still scrapping away here. Toto's burnt quite a bit of his battery in defence here. Zonix playing a bit of a longer game with strategy as well, picking those hard tyres. He doesn't want to cause too much of a mess here in this little battle, but nicely defended at the moment, and Apex Stig looking to be going quite well here, but unfortunately he's not so much his teammate Mickey, who's down in 13th.
Yeah, and I think that Alpine are having a bit of a mixed bag here in this race, whereas Mercedes potentially more up there, and Aston not doing too badly either. Right now, as it stands, it is not too bad for Mercedes in the championship right now. They only need to outscore Aston by 8 or more. Right now they're doing that, but Zonix is not going to make it easy, as we have seen F1 Banks get disqualified from this race.
Yeah, accumulation of penalties it was, so a bit of a shocking start for him. We're already down to 16 drivers from 20. Zonix now has DRS for the second lap running. Looks to that inside. He's not going to rush this move. He could have worked a bit harder to try and get past, but he's choosing to stay behind for the moment, just waiting for that opportunity. Toto is not letting Jaden pull away as far as he was off the start. Still about 1.7 the difference. So we'll see how long those soft tyres can remain in their best window for Jaden. How hard is he going to push them, I wonder? Or is he going to try and just stretch them out as long as he possibly can? And Zonix still trailing Toto here, looking for a little opportunity here. All he needs is a sniff, and he's now as close as he has been throughout this whole start of the race. And this is a great opportunity for him. DRS, a good run out of the corner. Now he starts to use the battery as he makes his way through into second place, Zonix. And he is now free to chase after Jaden, 2 seconds behind him. And we'll see what sort of inroads he can make there. In the meantime, Webbo fighting with Chillrod's wheel to wheel. Chillrod's got the inside line, but Webbo just a little bit further ahead. Inching ahead is Webbo. Chillrod's got caught on the curb there a little bit. And now racing down towards Cop's Corner. Chillrod's has a good run, but Webbo looks like he's going to be able to hold this one just for the moment. Nicely done, but Chillrod's runs wide and allows Type N TJ and Kia the opportunity to make their way through. This has turned into a bit of a 4-car battle here between these guys. Beautiful stuff, and now we go back up to Toto, who's closing on Zonix again, but just can't find a way back past at the moment.
Yep, and I think this is going to be a consistent theme during the course of this race. It's only lap 5 of 26 here, and it is not disappointing at this current moment. PS Bomber definitely has some work to do, you might say, and it's definitely going to be a big focus point on this race. Obviously, these leaders, but Bomber's ability to get back into this race to score some points for Aston is going to be crucial for this championship.
Indeed it is, and Mickey outside of the points at the moment as well, as is PS Bomber, so not what Aston and Alpine are looking for. They're going to need a mighty turnaround in the next 20 or so laps if they want to find a way to secure this. If Zonix gets the win and Mercedes come 2 and 3 at the moment, that will be enough just by one singular point. It also depends on who has the fastest lap. So if PS Bomber just gets a couple points and Zonix is able to take the win, that'll be all Aston Martin need. But it's Mercedes in the box seat at this stage and looking comfortable. Apex Stig is slowly closing that gap as well. He really wants to get in on this action. He knows his Alpine team needs him to put in a shift. And or on lap 6 of 26, he's going to have to find a way. And we go back to this battle between Kia and now Webbo. And Kia's made the move at Cop's Corner there. Nicely done. Webbo trying to find a way back, but nothing doing there. We will have a DRS zone coming up that's going to help him. Taipan TJ not far ahead of Kia either, and he's just going to try and hold him off here. Kia's got immense pace, as we're well aware of. Webbo's actually done quite well to manage his ARS. Still plenty left, as Kia now on a mission to try and get past Taipan TJ. Doesn't quite have enough on this situation at this moment, and he does make a dive down towards the chicane. Tried to catch Taipan TJ napping there, and as a result he has run a bit wide out of the chicane, but he's done well to hang on. Kia's still gaining on him though towards turn 1. Is he going to have a look? Not quite. We know Kia's not afraid to make a bold move, and he's not just not quite there at this stage. He's got Webbo and Chilrod still right on his hammer. All on the hard tyres, besides Taipan TJ here.
And that was a massive
snap.
moment.
Massive snap, and that's opened the door, and he's moved a bit, but Kia should still be able to make his way through, and does so. And Webbo just a little bit too far back to capitalise, but Kia's run wide and opened the door back for Taipan TJ, who tries to shut the door back on Kia. Kia's run really wide, and they're wheel-to-wheel again here. It's so close between these two, a little bit of bumping, and this is some really hard racing between the two of them. Kia just inches ahead of him, and he's done fantastically well there to just hang on, but now he's gone off the track as well, and Taipan TJ sniffs an opportunity to try and make his way through. Just little mistakes being made here, and now he's right on the back of him as Toto makes his way past Zonix. We'll go back to that in a second, because Taipan TJ's Kia runs off the track again. Taipan has gotten through, and he's got the DRS now. Webbo is chasing after Kia Plays, trying to join in on the action, looking to the inside. Kia defends it, and he can't get through, and he's so close. He goes down the inside. Webbo gets through, and now Chilrod's as wheel with Kia. Kia pulls out and into the pits. I'm not sure if that's for damage or just a sudden change of strategy. I think it must be for damage of some sort, because otherwise that would not make any sense at all. But what a little scrap between 4 cars there.
Yeah, it is just an absolute, just hard racing, just bunch there. They are not giving each other any sort of room to work with, but they're getting through cleanly. But that is also helping Bomber close up. Obviously, he hasn't been gaining every lap, but right now, because of Kia's pitting, he is now into P10 and in those points. And he will continue to close up to these guys if they fight as hard as they have been, which Taipan definitely isn't giving up as Webbo attacks him. Those softs will be on drop-off now, and up the front though, Toto putting in an absolute shift here to keep Zonix behind him so Jaden can keep pulling away.
Yeah, this battle continues on. Webbo has driven a brilliant race so far. He's had he's really struggled so far this season, so this has been a fantastic effort from him, as Zonix now makes his way past Toto using DRS, but I'm surprised to say it, but we actually want to keep our eyes on this battle between Taipan TJ and Webbo, because this is really enticing, and Chilrod's just behind trying to scoop up a chance, and here goes Webbo around the outside. Taipan TJ's not going to let him go easily. He dives back down the inside to stay in front. Webbo trying to just stay on the track there, and he does, but Taipan TJ has the place. Webbo had a look towards the inside, realised nothing was on, and now Chilrod's has gotten really close, but he made a little bit of contact, compromised his exit there. There's a yellow, and I believe that's an Alpine of Mickey who's spun around. Now that's going to be crucial. He's lost a significant amount of time there, and 2 places as well.
Yep, so Alpine in a bit of a world of hurt here. Obviously Apex Stig still up the grid, but Alpine need to be scoring a lot more points than this if they still want to be in this come the Tier 1 race, and right now they're looking like they're going to end up dropping out of it towards the back here. And then also looking up towards the front, Zonix still splitting the middle of them with Bomber scoring 1 point. Where is that going to put us in the championship right now, J-Man?
Mercedes should be able to get it from there. It'll be 40 points versus 19, so that would be a comfortable win for Mercedes. If Zonix gets the win and the fastest lap, and PS Bomber comes 10th, I believe Aston Martin will win by 1 point. So it's crucial that Zonix gets the win. Anything less, and Mercedes will be able to win this Tier 2 championship. And now Toto and Zonix going wheel to wheel as Toto makes the move back past under DRS again. And also that battle between Taipan and Webbo is just sort of settled for the moment. Taipan's still hanging on to 7th place. It's been a mammoth effort from him. And just cooling down for now and helping each other along. But Zonix is still closing in on Toto. Lap 10 now. And we're going to start to get towards that pit window for the soft tyre runners. That's when this race is really going to start heading up. Zonix is not really wasting much battery here, but he is going to use some to make the move. He's saving it for a better time, and he knows also because there's no safety cars, saving battery becomes a lot more important because in those later stages of the race, if you use a lot of your battery early, it's really tough to recover it. So that's also a very smart strategy from Zonix. Could it pay off for him later on? Yep.
I think it definitely can, and he knows that he needs to win. He's won plenty. This isn't just for the championship. I think in his eyes, he wants this record as well. I'm sure of it. So he's going for a bit of a double mission here, and he's definitely looking like he's on for one, as he's only 1.8 behind Jaden with 16 laps to go. Obviously, Toto not giving it up easy as he's coming back at him again, and they're going to go wheel to wheel, and Toto just sweeps through up into P2. He knows he has to clear Toto well and truly if he wants a chance at having a move at Jaden, because at the way Toto's going, he is holding up Zonix to a point where towards this second stint, it might become very difficult for Zonix to close up to Jaden. Obviously, we've seen several times this season Zonix close up miraculously in the final few laps, but Zonix, especially with another teammate in the mix from Mercedes, could definitely make it a lot harder than it has been in the past for him.
Yeah, Zonix will also be thinking about the change of compound of tyres. Obviously, Zonix will be going on to probably a preferable compound unless Jaden is able to hang on long enough to put on medium tyres. And so we'll see what happens as Zonix makes his way back past Toto. It seems to be a lap-by-lap scenario between the two of them. But it'll be interesting to see how early Jaden pits. Are those tyres struggling? Is he going to try and put the mediums on? I think he's almost about there where he can put the mediums on. In the meantime, Webbo is going to come back at Taipan. The battle resumes here, and Taipan tried to cut back underneath him. He does cut back underneath him. Now he's trying to go around the outside, and a little bit of bumping there has sort of hurt Taipan in that run there. Chill Rods has completely fallen off the back of this battle, unfortunately. But still plenty of action between these two. Taipan towards Cop's Corner, couldn't quite. Royal Duck gets past Broadstar. I think Broadstar spun round, because that's a yellow flag just ahead. And now Taipan TJ trying to find a way back past Webbo. And Zonix and Toto still exchanging places. Jaden and Toto both double stack into the pits. I think there might have been a little bit of miscommunication there, because they've gone on the same lap. Taipan trying to find a way down the inside, and eventually he does, but Webbo didn't want him to, and now the switch back from Webbo, and there's a little bit of bumping. Taipan tried to get into the pit lane. Webbo wanted to stay out. Gee whiz, that was close between the two of them there. I'm not sure if that was completely legal by Taipan, but that made for some very intense moments there.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a discussion if there was an incident, but maybe Webber will still choose to try and report it, but the Mercedes disaster class there with that double stack, it's going to lose them so much time. Obviously, Jaden, not at all. He won't lose any time, but his buffer will be gone.
And PS Bomber has just come out ahead of Jaden. How hard is he going to try and defend from the Mercedes here? Brand new medium tyres. PS Bomber is Probably going to do his absolute best for his teammate here. Jaden hasn't come out in the ideal position, and he's also hurt his teammate a little bit with that double stack. He's now 6 seconds behind him. It was only about 2 or 3 before the pit stops. I don't think PS Bomber is going to be able to do much here. He's going to try his best, but Jaden's got the inside line. Actually, he does hang on. Does PS Bomber on those old hard tyres, and there's a bit of contact. PS Bomber not going to let him go. It's going to be close. Jaden's got to be careful here. He doesn't want to make a little slip up at this moment in time, and he's still fighting hard. PS Bomber. Jaden's got the DRS. He's just got to be patient here. He doesn't need to rush this too much. Now he's gone down the inside, and he does get the move done eventually, but a little bit of a nervous moment for him. But PS Bomber's going to try and come back down the inside, but he can't do much about it. That was a little bit hairy for Jaden, but he does just get through there unscathed.
Yep, he gets through, but now what is the time gap going to be to Zonix? Because Toto has lost out significantly. He's 8 seconds behind PS Bomber and his teammate when the gap was only 2. So the gap being so significant now means it is on Jaden to beat Zonix on pure pace, which we've seen him do before. But now without a little bit of an extra helping hand, how is he going to fare? Because he's going to have to make up all that time he lost to PS Bomber, plus more, and then the tyre difference at the end is going to be crucial.
Yep, and Zonix is going to try and make that great chase once again. It looks like he's going to stay out a bit longer and just eke everything out of those hard tyres. And Chill Rods is now the next barrier in the way of Jaden. He doesn't want to be held up too much by him. And he is going to try and make the move around the outside at Cops. Wouldn't this be bold and beautiful? And it is by Jaden. What a move that was. Chill Rods didn't want to fight that too hard, but it's still a very brave move by Jaden, not wanting to waste a single millisecond here as he tries to chase down Zonix. So we'll see how much longer Zonix stays out for. Will he want to pit onto the soft tyres and as a result of staying out a couple more laps? It could be an option for him.
Yeah.
And also Toto chasing down PS Bomber only a few seconds behind, so we'll see what happens between them two. Yeah,
obviously the pit lane is very, very long around here, and it's about a 30-second pit lane, so you'll just mainly want to keep an eye on the gap. Jaden to Zonix here is closing very, very quickly, and right now Jaden would have a massive lead, but softs to mediums is definitely a big enough tyre difference for Zonix to make back. So, I mean, just from a team principal's perspective here, I am just hoping Toto comes out in the pit lane in front of Zonix.
Yeah, it's going to be close, but Chill Rods and PS Bomber in the meantime both into the pits. PS Bomber has caught up significantly to Chill Rods, who is quite comfortably ahead of him. So he's done pretty well there. Type N TJ with the undercut swoops into 7th place. Webbo's down in 11th, so I'm not sure if there was a little incident or maybe he had to change a wing possibly. There was a lot of bumping in his battles with Kia and Taipan, so it's definitely a possibility. As we look ahead, Toto has lost time to Jaden, but he's going to make it up here. As Zonix now comes into the pits, this is a big moment in this race. As you said, is he going to be able to get out ahead of Toto? It's going to be close.
Yep, it's going to be extremely close as we'll stay on board with Zonix. Obviously, Jaden will get through. That is a given, but the gap to Toto might just be enough for him to come out in front. It's about 28 to 30 seconds through the pit lane here. As Jaden now coming through the Vale chicane. Zonix now just trundling his way to the end of the pit lane. Here comes Jaden. He's going to sweep through at about 300 k's an hour now past him. He's going to come out in front of Toto, I think, as we'll have to see. He's sweeping into turn 1. He has come out comfortably in front of Toto, and he's on a nice set of medium tyres, 2 laps fresher. So now the chase is truly on. 5 seconds is the gap. We've seen him overcome greater, but not on even tyres, or nearly even tyres, with very, very similar strategy here. So this is going to be absolute crunch time for the both of them, and Stig not having pit yet could end up being a factor, but I doubt it because he's only got 20 seconds to Jaden. But Toto now has to put some pressure on now. He has to close to Zonix, but he's on hard tyres.
Yeah, is the 3-lap tyre difference going to be enough for Zonix to overcome? He's got 5 seconds to make up for. He does have a significant battery advantage, which is going to benefit him but that will only benefit him if he gets into the DRS range of Jaden. As Apex Stig finally comes into the pits, he had a great stint on those hard tyres. He was just hanging on to the top 3 there, and you should be able to get out ahead of Royal Duck, you'd assume. Broadstar also having a very good race in up to P6 now, which is nice from him. Taipan TJ's pulled a gap to Kia, so that battle unfortunately has spread out, and we won't be able to see any more of that for at least a little bit. But Apex Stig, where is he going to come out is the crucial question. Just behind Zonix and Toto, but should be ahead of Royal Duck comfortably. And it's a solid result for Alpine, but for that overall Constructors Championship fight, it's not going to be enough. They needed to outscore both Aston and Mercedes in this race to give them a real shot, and they're leaving a lot to be desired for their Tier 1 drivers. I think it might actually be impossible at this current rate, but you never know. There's still time in this race. Sonics has slightly closed the gap, but not any significant inroads at this time. At 4.9 seconds the difference, 10 laps to go.
Yep, and we'll see it shrink and shrink and shrink, as we've seen in the likes of Brazil. We thought the gap was going to be too big to overcome. This time it's definitely not too big to overcome. 10 laps, 5 seconds, and shrinking constantly. It's just going to be who can bring it home at the end, but with the tyre difference, it could be enough to be the difference between victory and defeat here. And if Zonix wins, he still needs to get fastest lap.
Yep, you are right. And also, Apex Stig has nailed this strategy onto the medium tyres. Only 1.7, and he's gaining massively on Toto here. So it's been a fantastic start from Apex Stig just to hang on those hard tyres. And now he might have a chance to reap the rewards against the Mercedes here. So this is probably one of Apex Stig's best drives to date. If he can finish this off on the podium, I'll be extremely impressed. And this has been fantastic from him. So he's more than likely to get a podium place here.
Yeah, if there wasn't the double stack, this race would be very different. But now with Toto under pressure from Stig, that can also shape this championship as well.
Yeah, it's a big moment. PS Bombers, in the meantime, is the other driver that is important. He's just passed Chill Rods into 9th. He's going to hope to pull away. He's got significantly younger tyres than Kia, who's 4.5 seconds up the road. So it is going to be a task to chase him, but I wouldn't put it past him. And then Taipan TJ a little bit further up. But it's going to take some work for PS Bomber. Mickey's completely out of this race in terms of point scoring, which is a real shame. Chill Rods coming back up the inside of PS Bomber. And he's cut the track there and picked up a penalty, which is going to hurt his race even more. And so Mickey, unfortunately for Alpine, is not going to score any points. It's all up to Apex Stig, who's now in the DRS range of Toto. And while we mentioned, I kind of like no safety cars. Maybe we should implement it permanently.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not creating a bad atmosphere in this race, but I think it would be a lot more exciting if there was safety cars. Think about just the start of that race alone. There would have been some safety cars which would have kept the leaders together even longer, and it would have changed the dynamic of this race, especially strategy-wise. Starting on those hards with Zonix definitely would have hurt him a lot more, and starting on the softs also would have been of benefit, so would have changed up the strategy a lot. And I think that's part of the reason Tier 2 is normally so action-packed, is the fact that everybody's always so glued together.
Here goes Apex Stig, though, chasing down Toto. Chill Rods is out of the race. Is that on track? I think so. And now flying down towards Cop's Corner. He's going to go for the move here, Apex Stig. He's not going to wait around for DRS. He said, I'm going to do this right here, right now. And off he goes into the distance. He has played a masterful strategy. In fact, he's got the youngest tyres of the top 3, while Zonix has actually closed that gap to 2.9 seconds without us really paying attention to it. Apex Stig is in this race, make no mistake about it.
Yep, and this is crucial both for Alpine and Mercedes here. If Apex Stig finishes ahead of Toto, that's a 3 points difference between P3 and P4. that would mean Zonix
You have to get
will.
the calculator out.
That would mean Zonix does not need the fastest lap.
Yep, so while you talk for a little bit longer, I'm just going to put together some hypotheticals with the calculator.
Yep, so we'll get J-Man going here, but yeah, Toto already nearly dropping outside of DRS's Stig. This is hurting him. Jaden, with the double stack with Toto, ruined his race. This race would be going so differently if that had not happened. But now he's just got to work through it and make sure he doesn't drop any more positions, or maybe hold out for a penalty. Obviously, Silverstone isn't the easiest track to get a penalty at, but we have seen a few up and down the grid, as Kia now coming into the pit lane. So he started in last place. He's in the top 10. Obviously, he won't come out of the pits in the top 10, but he'll try and make up some more as we head into the final 6 laps. The gap between the leaders now 2.1 seconds, now down to 2 seconds. We've seen Zonix do this too many times in the past this season. Will Jaden be able to hold him off just one time? He's not been able to do it in the past, except for in Brazil. Can he pull it out one more time for this crucial moment?
Yeah, and just to update the audience on the current situation, if the results stay as they are right now, Mercedes will win the Tier 2 championship by 3 points, because H. Mewburn has taken the fastest lap off Jaden. So I think the fastest lap is going to be off the table for Zonix or Jaden to pick up, because H. Mewburn was on soft tyres when he picked it up. Type N TJ's had to come into the pits, and that's actually going to move PS Bomber up another place. So I might have to do some recalculating. So PS Bomber goes up to 7th. And that means at the moment Aston Martin will be winning by 1 point regardless of whether Zonix wins this race or not. So Type N TJ is going onto the soft tyres, so there is time to chase him down, but it's going to be very tight here. Zonix still needs to make this work because he's got Apex Stig behind him as well.
Yep, and right now Aston are looking good, but maybe if we look to the overalls, this obviously Aston will be outscoring Mercedes. Oh, actually no, Mercedes will be outscoring Aston, but that definitely makes it interesting for the overalls.
Yeah, so Mercedes will extend their lead as it stands right now. If Zonix wins the race over Jaden, I believe it could be about equal, which will still be advantage Mercedes. Obviously, Alpine are only going to score Apex Stig's points, which hurts because both Aston's and Mercedes are in point scoring positions. So if the results end like this, Apex Stig is pretty much going to have to win this race if Alpine had any chance to take the overall Constructors Championship. He has slightly closed the gap to Zonix, but not by a significant margin. Zonix is just hovering around this 1 to 2 second mark. He's going to need to break into the DRS of Jaden. It's definitely not a sure thing around here. Once he closes in, it's going to get harder, but he does have a significant battery advantage, which is going to help him this last 5 laps.
Yeah, and obviously right now Aston are champions and Bomber is probably not going to end up going anywhere, so and Toto is not going to end up catching Stig, so I think the main problem here for Jaden is having to hold that lead and hope Stig catches up.
Yep, he could try a bit of a hold-up strategy, could Jaden. We'll see what happens as Kia now takes that fastest lap. So we'll see how Jaden decides to play this. He's got a couple options on the table. He's got Zonix 1.5 seconds behind. You can see Apex Stig just in the background there. There's a lapped car in between, and I think it might be H. Mewburn. It is. He's on new soft tyres, so he won't be going anywhere. He's just going to be there annoying Zonix from behind, trying to hurry him along as he closes the gap once again. But this great chase is coming to a head once again with a few laps to go. And forget the Constructors' Championship for a moment. This is just a great battle between the top 2 drivers, and also Jaden's fighting for the P2 and the Drivers' Championship, which is going to give him even more motivation, not that he needs any more. And it's still hovering that gap at around 1.4 seconds. When's Zonix going to hit the push button and just go for it. HMU Bird is just being there in his mirror, just being a little annoying fly to him at the moment as Taipan TJ is back next to Webbo. Battle resumes, but the tyre differential there is going to be a bit too much to overcome. Webbo is about to get chased down by Kia Plays for that 9th place though, so could get tight between the two of them. But yep, 4 laps to go. We're just in a little bit of a holding pattern here before we reach the final stages.
Yeah, maybe if the race director could tell a story who has what warnings here in the top 4.
Yep, I will go through that right now.
Yep, so Jaden holding the gap now at 1.3 to 1.5-ish, but Zonix is not going to give this up easy. And obviously, right now, the championship is kind of out the window here for Mercedes just by a few points. So this is more for Zonix's record. Zonix has all the motivation he needs, but so does Jaden here at the end of the day. So this is going to be a straight fight. Jaden always seems to be the leading car coming into these sorts of situations, but with 3 laps to go, it's closer than it normally is. As we're on lap 23 or 26, the gap is 1.2, and there's no signs of either of them giving any sort of way to each other. Meanwhile, Steve's holding a comfortable 3.4 at the back here, so it is looking like it is absolute crunch time for him if he wants any sort of hope in this race.
Yeah, Jaden has 2 warnings. Onyx has 1. Apex Stig is going to be very hopeful that one of them picks up a 3-second penalty if he can get close enough. Remember, Apex Stig is on the youngest tyres of the 3 of them. It's just that gap that he's got to contend with at the moment. And Taipan TJ comes into the pits again. I think he really wants that fastest lap. He's actually giving up points to try and get it. So he's going to lose places to Webbo and to Kia, or maybe he picked up front wing damage in an incident. It's definitely possible that happens. Zonix now, he's starting to use that battery. He's almost within the 1 second. He's at 1.1. Is it now go time for Zonix? He's going to try and time the run here. And this is going to be an awesome battle between the two of them. We know Jaden's going to give it everything he's got. And Apex Stig is actually trying to lap his teammate here. Maybe Mickey trying to give him a bit of a boost down the straight to try and help him catch up to the leaders. But as I said, Jaden is only 1 warning away. Zonix is 2 warnings away. So it's going to be... he's got to be careful here as well. He's got to think about losing out to Apex Stig as well. So that's got to be in the back of his mind. And I'm sure... once they do get to battling, it might just cost them a little bit of time. Lap 24 or 26, Zonix has broken the DRS gap. Wasn't enough to get DRS down this part of the track. No, it wasn't. But he's going to look to get it a little bit later in the lap is Zonix. And Jaden now just hoping at this stage that he can find a way to hang on to this lead here. PS Bomber still hanging on to P7, so it's going to be enough by the barest of margins for Aston Martin at the moment. By 1 point, it is, as it stands, Aston Martin will take the championship. Zonix can make a sure thing of it if he takes the win here. Jaden just hanging outside that 1 second gap. He's going to be watching it like a hawk. And it looks like he's gotten away from the DRS once again. No, he hasn't. Zonix has somehow picked it up. Is it going to make that much of a difference, though? Because Jaden got a fantastic exit out of that corner. And he's just going to hang on to what is a solid gap of pretty much exactly 1 second here.
Yeah, Jaden's going to need to keep pushing as we're heading onto the penultimate lap. There's 2 cars going too wide in front of him, so he's going to get held up massively. But he's also going to get DRS as an effect of that, maybe. As Jaden just had to lose about 4 tenths to avoid that McLaren. And that has definitely solidified this win here for Zonix.
Yeah, the battery's flashing as well. On the second last lap, he's got another lap car to contend with. Hopefully that Alfa Romeo makes way. I think it's Taipan TJ, as Mickey's now picked up another penalty. And he's actually going to get DRS here as Jaden down the straight, which is going to be handy for him. Taipan TJ on new soft tyres as well. So he's not going to be able to even maybe overtake him here, is Taipan TJ. And now Zonix has got a little bit to contend with. 5 tenths the gap. When's he going to start deploying that battery? It's going to be now. And it's going to get very tight down towards the next DRS zone. Hopefully that lap car does start to make way as these two battle. And you can see Jaden gaining on him as Type N TJ does get a penalty for ignoring the yellow flags there. Hopefully stays out of the way and doesn't cause any incident. As Zonix now with the DRS heading into the penultimate lap. Is he going to go for the move here? He's closing up massively. And I think he might just be a touch too far back on this occasion, but he's closer than he's ever been to Jaden. And he's got a little bit of a better exit as well. He might have a chance down to the chicane here. He just stays behind him wisely. He knows he's got that battery advantage as we head on to the final lap here for the Tier 2 season.
Yep, and right now Aston have just managed to hold it together, and it's looking likely Zonix will confirm this in the next couple of corners, as he thought about going for it already. Type in getting another 5 seconds for ignoring these blue flags, but Zonix trying to make this oh so difficult for Jaden, as he's going to get an absolute brilliant exit. Jaden being forced off just a little bit
DRS
there. Jaden is going to pick up just...
Oh, both have it.
Yeah, they're going to pick up DRS for the both of them. Taipan still sitting in front of them is going to hurt Jaden.
He gets out the way.
And I don't think Jaden is going to be able to get him back, especially if Zonix finds himself with DRS and the more batteries. There we go. Taipan now does get out of the way. He slows up. And now Jaden is on for the run of his life. This is going to come down to it here. Lap 26 to 26. Jaden goes off just a little bit. Doesn't get a warning. And Zonix letting him through. And that is... Zonix is going to win this race here unless Jaden can miraculously pull...
He's got a good gap though. It's going to be close. He's going to have put everything he has left. Zonix gets a good run. And he defends to the inside. This borderline racing between the two of them. Zonix goes deep into the corner. Jaden makes contact. It's going to be a run right to the line here. Jaden puts everything he has into it, and he's going to go down the inside of Zonix, and he cuts the corner as well. Gets a 3-second apex stick too far behind, and now he absolutely cuts through Zonix. Jaden's going to win, but Zonix with the penalty wins the race. What a drama-filled finish that was. But Zonix gets the win, and he breaks the record for most wins in a season. Apex Stig has crashed on the line, and now Toto comes up the 3rd place. So, if Zonix didn't get that win there, Aston Martin wouldn't have won this championship. I believe they've won it. It's going to be close on countback, but PS Bomber comes to the line now, and as he crosses the line, I believe he's going to seal the Tier 2 Constructors Championship. Aston Martin, and what a season it's been for Aston Martin in Tier 2. Zonix gets the win, and we are extremely confused as to what happened at the end there. But at the end of the day, Zonix gets the win with some very close driving there from Jaden. I'm sure that's going to be looked at later on. But thankfully all facing the right way. And I'm looking forward to these interviews. Toto somehow gets on the podium by less than 1/10 of a second.
Yep, and it's been a good fight this season, and it all comes down to that. And right now that sets up Mercedes well for the overall constructors later today, but in Tier 2, at least at the current look of things, Mercedes haven't gotten it.
Yep, so well done to Zonix. Gets his 8th win of the season. There was a lot of controversy in those last couple of laps from Type N TJ. The lapped car in front of both of them to Jaden, absolutely desperate to get ahead there. And in the process of it, picked up a 3-second penalty. He actually finished ahead of Zonix on the road. But yeah, well done to Zonix. They pick up the championship. I believe the final margin was 4 points, 4 or 5 points for Aston Martin. And what a battle it's been in Tier 2 in particular between Mercedes and Aston. And we weren't disappointed with the finish either. So looking forward to getting these guys in for interviews to have a chat about it. But yeah, well done, Zonix.
Yeah, I think it's, 31 to 32 points. So Mercedes outscores Aston by 1 point, I think.
33-31. So Mercedes by 2 points.
Yep. As we'll now move.
Which means because of that, the 7-point lead in the Tier 2 Championship, Aston Martin will win that by 5. But the overall lead gets extended to 20 for Mercedes.
So
Aston will need to outscore Mercedes by 20 points in Tier 1, which is a long shot, but it can be done for sure. And make sure you tune into Tier 1 tonight as well to see it all be decided.
Yep, so we'll now head over to the Paddock VC to get these interviews underway. As we got all 3 people in, so I'll just get to the showroom. As we'll start with P3 on the grid. With Toto here getting P3 on his first ORL race, and he's done a good job for Mercedes. He did the best job he could. Mate, walk us through your race there, and are you happy with your result?
Yeah, I didn't expect my pace here at Silverstone, so it worked out pretty well. My strategy was basically, if I can get past Zonix, do it and hold him up, or just keep up with Jaden and gap the rest of the field. Couldn't keep up with Jaden, so it was just trying to make sure I raced fairly, but tried to hold up Zonix a little bit to keep Jaden going well, because I don't think those softs mediums was a good strat. That's 80% at the end, I think I heard, was pretty shocking. So yeah, that was my whole race. And then the rest was just limitation to make sure I didn't lose spots at the end.
Yep, and then obviously the double stack, just did you not see Jaden come into the pits, or did you just decide to go for it anyway?
I saw him going in, but with how I was with Zonix, I kinked right, and if I kinked left again, I threatened hitting him. So I just decided to go in, didn't want to damage anything, didn't want to hit anything, so saw it, unlucky, but worked out all right.
Yeah, so good race from you, P3. You did your best, and at the end of the day, that's all anyone could hope for, and you had a great race, and you got a nice podium there for you, so congratulations, mate. Alrighty. So J-Man, do you now want to take Jaden's interview?
Indeed, I will. Jaden, a fantastic race from you today. Qualified pole position. Your qualifying pace was absolutely fantastic today, and that strategy, you tried to make it work. Those medium tyres, obviously you pushed them really hard trying to defend from Zonix, but just on the last lap couldn't quite hold on there.
Yeah, I think I had a pretty good qualifying. I was expecting a Zonix pole, not gonna lie. I had a pretty good race as well. I was hoping Taipan would get out of my way, but I was like, oh cool, I got DRS, but my tires are shit, so Zonix is still gonna catch me, and he had DRS as well. But I knew he would have had more ERS than me because I'm a wobbler and I left my ERS on. But my tire wear was at 80%, and the Sen at the final corner, the chicane, I was like, she'll be right. He'll still win. I got a 3-second anyway. Broke his front wing, so that's okay. He still won. I don't know why he's crying. Kidding. Love you, Zonix.
Yeah, it was a fantastic fight towards the end there, and with those tyres as well, managing to keep them working throughout the whole race, and overall a great season for you as well. Obviously, you missed out on a chunk of it, but
how dare you, Zonix? I'm a reserve.
How do you sum up your season as a whole?
Lindsay should have kept me, not gonna lie, chat. Bro wobbled.
Fair enough.
Yeah, well done on P2. So close to P2 on the Drivers' Championship as well, if you had gotten that win today. But, great result for you, mate.
No, it's okay. And GG's to Zonix on the win record. He did good.
Alright. Do you want me to take Zonix as well?
Yeah. You deserve it.
Yep, I'll take my driver. Yeah. Zonix, It was an extremely well executed race from you today, starting on those hard tyres. Obviously, you had a bit of difficulty with Toto at the start, holding you off a bit, but you just managed to find your groove at the end of the race, and you just got through by the barest of margins there.
It all worked out. I think the strategy was a good call because I knew Jaden, he does like to start on softs, doesn't he? So just started on hards. I knew I was going to be on the slower tyres, but in the long run, the time I'd be gaining back was so much better. So that did turn out working out. So since his softs, he did do a pretty good job managing them at the start. But yeah, like once he pitted them for the mediums, I knew they were going to be cooked at the end. So I just tried not to get any warnings, just drove it clean, caught up, and then yeah, made that final move at the end.
Yeah, it was a very momentous day for you as well to end off the season. Obviously, you've taken the Tier 2 Drivers' Championship, also now the Tier 2 Constructors' Championship by the barest of margins, 2 points, which PS Bomber managed to help you out there just a little bit with that P7. So how does that feel?
Oh, amazing. You know, having to fight both the Mercedes alone for a lot of weekends, just me versus both the Mercs, was pretty tough for a couple of weekends. But PS Bomber, the GOAT, kept getting these consistent finishes, carried the team to the championship. So credit to my boy PS Bomber.
Yeah, well done. And also another personal achievement for you as well. Most wins in a single season. You've taken 8 of the 14 races as well. That must feel pretty sweet. As long as Geordie Slater doesn't magically rock up and win tonight, I think you've got that record to yourself.
He better not.
He can't even do the other league he was gonna focus on anyway. He's gotta go up to the Sunshine Coast, I believe.
There you go. Anyway, yeah, congratulations. I believe we got PS Bomber here as well. Do you have any words to say?
I'm just happy for everyone. I spun like first few laps accidentally. This was my first race on wheel, so I tried that, and yeah, things worked out towards the end.
Yeah, you looked right on it from the start as well. For first race on wheel, that's an incredible effort, and you looked very consistent as well. So well done on the championship, both of you, and we'll move on to Tier 1 later tonight to see if they can try and take the overall championship as well.
Come on, Jay, man. You can do it. I believe in you.
All right, I'll hand it back over to you, Lindsay.
Yeah, so it was a hard-fought battle between Mercedes and Aston, but at the end of the day, when it came down to it in Tier 2, Aston managed to bring it home. Obviously, the overall Constructors fight is still on, but as the Mercedes TP, congrats, all 3 of yous. And probably won't be the last time I find myself in a championship battle at any capacity with you or your team, J-Man, but we'll have to see how it goes in the future. But for now, that is going to be ORL done for Tier 2 this season. Tier 1 still has a lot to play for at 7:30, and we'll see you then, or more specifically Zandon will see you then for the finale here. And yeah, good afternoon, and we'll see you then.